Okay guys, today we are going to go over the cosine law. Now this is in your new booklets that you received yesterday. This is the second lesson on that new booklet. However, this is actually the last lesson before your test on Thursday or quest. It's not going to be weighted as much as everything else, okay? But just know that this is the last lesson. So you do have in your booklets a lesson on 3D problems. You can cross that out. That is not going to be on your test, and we are not going to do that. I repeat, you can cross out 3D problems from this booklet. Today's lesson is the last lesson that will be on your test. Your test is on Thursday, and it'll include 3 lessons: trigonometric identities. It will include trigonometric identities, the sine law and ambiguous case, and the cosine law. Those are the 3 lessons that will be on. At the end of this lesson, I will go over a test review, okay? So today we are just focusing on the sine law. Now, so 5.7, the sine law. Okay, sometimes the cosine law. Sometimes the sine law may not be sufficient for solving all acute triangles. Okay, for instance, in triangle ABC below, how would you find side A, which is right here, using the sine law? Well, according to the sine law, remember the ratios, you need a side angle pair. If you have side A, you need angle A, or if you have side B, angle B, side C, angle C. So I have side A, I do not have angle A because that's what we're looking for. I do have side B, okay, I do have side B, but I do not have angle B. And I do have side C, but I do not have angle C. So therefore, I do not have any side angle pair that can set up one ratio for me to do the sine law. So I cannot do the sine law. In this instance, I must use the cosine law. Now, you've learned the cosine law last year in grade 10 academics, so this shouldn't be familiar to you, okay? So the cosine law is right here, okay? A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A, okay? And this is when you're looking for a side, okay? Looking for a side, okay, a missing side. Now the key here is whatever side is missing that you're looking for, you must have the corresponding angle to that side at the end of this equation, okay? Pay attention to that. Whatever side you are looking for, make sure the angle that is opposite that side gets placed at the end of the equation. Now, this equation can be rearranged depending on whatever side you're looking for. So if you have side B you're looking for, okay, then you rearrange the equation or you would rewrite the equation where you have B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC. So this is what matches. The side with its corresponding angle match, okay, what you're looking for, and the angle at the end. And then the 2 other sides fall into the equation, okay? There we go. Or we have this is also the cosine law, but this has already been rearranged when you're looking for an angle. Okay, this is when you're looking for an angle. And again, whatever angle that it is you're looking for, then the side corresponding to that angle is at the same side for that angle is at the end of the equation, okay? Okay, now this is angle and opposite side. So if this is side angle C, then I would place side measurement of C into this equation. B, this is angle B, then the side measurement for side B. Angle A, then the side measurement for A. Again, depending on which angle you're looking for, you can rewrite the cosine law equation differently. Just remember the angle corresponding, the side corresponding with the angle is placed here, and then the other 2 sides fall into place, okay? Okay, now we use the cosine law to find, okay, either the third side of a triangle when you have 2 sides and a contained angle. This is important that it's contained, okay? This is known as side angle. I like to say that an angle that is being eaten by 2 sides, so if this was the angle here, angle B, okay, that we have, and then we would have side C and side A. Well, side C and side A looks like it's eating angle A, okay? So when you have an angle contained in between or being eaten by two sides, side angle side, then you can use a cosine law to find the third missing side. Or if we have an angle measurement, we need to find an angle measurement, sorry, and we have all three sides. Okay, when you have all three sides and you need a specific angle, you can also use the cosine law. Okay, so now one thing I want to mention that you do have on your sheet, okay, on your sheet you have at the bottom, I believe you, or on the bottom right, you have something that says bearing. Let me just bring it up here. This right here, okay, this is what you see on your sheet. Now this right here, you can cross off. We are not going to do any bearing questions. Okay, you'll learn that next year anyways. I was going to teach you a little bit about it, but it's okay. We're not going to go through it if you don't need to know it, okay? So you can cross that out. You will not do any bearing question. Just put an X over that. For now, we are going to do the three examples. Make sure you take out a separate sheet of paper, please, okay? So take out a separate sheet of paper. We are going to start with example number 1, okay? Now, in triangle ABC, find the length of the indicated side to the nearest tenth. Now, tenth means how many decimal places? 1 decimal place, okay? So, we want to find side C, okay? Can I use the sine law or the cosine law? Well, let's take a look at what we have. I have two sides and I have an angle. So side, angle, side. Therefore, it must be the cosine law. Okay, now these two sides are eating the angle. See what I mean? It's like they're eating the angle. Okay, so therefore we use the cosine law. So let's set up our cosine law according to looking for side C. So if I write my cosine law, I have C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. Okay, now that I've written it out in terms of what I'm missing, I can go ahead and fill in what I know. C squared is equal to, well, A is 25 squared plus B, which is 9 squared, minus 2 multiplied by 25 multiplied by 9 cos of 23 degrees. C squared is equal to, what I like to do is I like to work with this first and then this. So I like to multiply negative 2, because there's a subtraction here, negative 2 multiplied by 25 multiplied by 9 and then multiplied by cos 23, and you should get negative 414.2271. Now we go 4 decimal places when we're working within your process, okay? In the process, I usually recommend 4 decimal places, okay? Now I can go ahead here, 25 squared plus 9 squared, you should get 706, okay? So when I go ahead and I subtract 706 by 414.2271, I should get 291.7728. Okay, sorry, this is squared. Now C has to be isolated, so when I bring the squared over to the other side, opposite operation is a square root of 291.7728. So side C is 17.1 centimeters. That is to the nearest tenth. So that is my final answer. Side C is 17.1 centimeters. Now there's one thing I want to mention. For the sine law, you can use the sine law when you have side-side angles. So that's two sides and an angle. If you take a look at this, okay, this is technically two sides and an angle. However, because of the positioning of where the angle is, which is in between the two sides, you cannot use the sine law because you do not have a side angle pair. So don't get that confused. Also, with respect to the ambiguous case, okay, the ambiguous case is when you have two sides and an angle. However, again, it's not when you have the angle between two sides. It must be an angle with an opposite side okay, and another side. You must have the opposite side to the angle in order to check for the ambiguous case, okay? Two sides in an angle, but the angle has to have an opposite side. So if you go back to yesterday's lesson, you'll notice that the word problems that we did not in the investigation was done to show you, to prove the actual ambiguous case. But when you go into the word problems and the questions that we've done, in all those questions, you can see that with respect to the angle, you are always given the opposite side to that angle and another side. So in that case, you have to check for the ambiguous case. When it's any time you're using the cosine law, you do not check for ambiguous case. Okay, I can't stress that enough. If your angle is between two sides, you do not need to check for ambiguous case. If your angle has a side that's opposite and another side, then yes, that means it's a sine law and you do use the ambiguous case. Okay, so make sure you make note of that. Okay, next example. In acute triangle DEF, okay, side D is 62 centimeters, side E is 51 centimeters, and side F is 48 centimeters. Find the measured angle F to the nearest degree. So we have three sides, okay? Let's draw this out. Okay, we have a triangle right there, okay? And let's label our sides. So we have, let's say this is 48, which means this is side F, okay? We have side D, which is 62, okay? And side E, which is 51. Now, you might be thinking, why did I do it in this order? There's no specific order. I just decided, you know, the way it's drawn, if you draw a line that's the smallest line in your triangle, then chances are that's going to be the smallest line. Okay, you should write it as the smallest measurement, and the longest measurement you can write as the longest measurement. It doesn't really matter if your diagram isn't accordingly accurate. Okay, as long as you just write out your sides and you write out your angles, you're fine. Okay, it's all in the math that'll help us. So we have three sides. We need to find angle F. Okay, so now again, when you have all three sides, we must use the cosine law. So we will write our cosine law for looking for an angle. Okay, so cos of F is equal to D squared plus E squared minus F squared all over 2DE. Okay, so cos of angle F, we'll fill in what we know. D is 62 squared minus E, which is 51 squared, minus F, which is 48 squared. This is all over 2 multiplied by D, which is 62, multiplied by E, which is 51. Okay, so cos of angle F is equal to, well, 62 squared plus 51 squared minus 48 squared. If I do all that, I should have 4,141. And then 2 multiplied by 62 multiplied by 51, you should get 6,324. Okay? So now, again, I'm looking for angle F. Therefore, I have to do the opposite operation or inverse operation of cos F, which it is cos second function, which you write it as cos -1. Now remember, that's not a power, that's just identifying that's the inverse. 4,141 over 6,324. Angle F is equal to 49 degrees. That's what you should have. And there we have 49 degrees. Okay, that's our final answer. Okay, let's move on to our last example, a word problem. So, two airplanes leave an airport at the same time. One travels at 355 kilometers per hour and the other at 450 kilometers per hour. 2 hours later, they are 800 kilometers apart. Find the angle between their courses. So, always when you're working with word problems, draw out the situation, draw out a diagram as to what's happening. So, You know that two airplanes are leaving the airport at the exact same time. So let's say the airport is here. One airplane is going in one direction and another airplane is going in another direction. Okay? So let's put A for airport. Okay, we can say B for one of the planes and C is where the other plane is. Based on what we see here, okay, 2 hours later, they're 80 kilometers apart. So if B and C are here after 2 hours, then they are exactly, 800 kilometers apart. Now, there's another piece of information that's important here. It tells us that one of them travels at 355 kilometers per hour and the other at 450 kilometers per hour. Now, that is not what we are writing here. Because we're talking about distance, this right here that's given to us, okay, this is speed, okay? We have our speed. We are not given our distance. So, with the speed, we know that they've traveled for 2 hours. I can calculate what my distance is. Remember, distance is equal to speed multiplied by time. Okay? So therefore, the distance is equal to 355 multiplied by 2 hours. Okay, so one of the distance is 710, and the other distance is 450 multiplied by 2 hours, which is 900. So one, let's say this one traveled 710 kilometers, okay, and the other traveled 900 kilometers. Okay, now it's asking find the angle between their courses. This is their course, right? From the airport to where they ended up. Okay, so we need to know this angle. Angle theta, we don't know. Okay, so we need to know angle A. So we have three sides, therefore we can go ahead and use the cosine law. Okay, so when we use the cosine law, we are writing it in terms of angle A. So we'll write cos of A is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared all over 2bc. Okay, now you plug in what you know. Cos of angle A is equal to b squared, which is 900 squared, plus 710 squared minus 800 squared all over 2 multiplied by 800, or sorry, that's not 800, 2 multiplied by 900, b was 900, multiplied by 710, okay? So when I calculate my numerator, add them all together and subtract, you should have 674,100 all over 1,278,000. Okay, that's what I do get when I calculate my denominator. Again, I need to solve for angle A, so we are doing the inverse of cos. Okay, and we are going to 674,100 over 1,278,000. Therefore, when I calculate that, you should get 58 degrees. This is a word problem. Don't forget your therefore statement. Therefore, the angle between their courses is 58 degrees. Okay? And that's the final example for this. Now, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go over your unit review. Okay? Unit 6 review. Okay? So, it's on 3 lessons. Okay? 1 is on trig identities. Also on the sine law and ambiguous case. Whoops. and then it's also on the cosine law. Now, the actual test is going to be out of 18. Okay, you have 4 questions in total. Okay, out of these 4 questions, you have 2 questions on trig identities. Okay, out of 3 each. Okay, out of 6 total. And then you will also have 2 word problems. Okay, 2 word problems on sine law / ambiguous case. Okay, because you don't know if you have to check for that. And cosine law. Okay. And then one just straight, I give you the angles and the sides and you have to solve. So one triangle, you must solve for, either the missing side or angle. And again, could be sine law / ambiguous case or cosine law. I'm not telling you. So potentially, okay, you will have at least, out of these 3, you will have at least 1 cosine law. You can potentially have 2 ambiguous cases. I'm not telling you if this is what's happening, but you could potentially have 2 ambiguous cases, okay, in which you use a sine law, or you could have 1 case that's ambiguous, 1 word problem, 1 problem that's a sine law, and another one that's a cosine law. I'm not saying what it is, but I'm just giving you the heads up. You need to know your ambiguous case very well, okay? Trig is out of 6. Out of the 2 word problems, I will tell you what they're out of. This one right here is out of 5. And then you have one of them out of 3. And one is going to be out of 4. Okay, so of these 2 word problems, one is out of 3 and another is out of 4. And then for this one, it is out of 5 marks. Okay. If there are any questions or concerns, you always can ask me on Edmodo. Okay. You will have 2 work periods on you will have Wednesday is your review period. I apologize. Wednesday is your review period, and you'll be able to ask the teacher or myself any questions from there on out. All right. Good luck. Bye.